3 weeks, or like almost 3 weeks.
Damn, it's been 3 weeks since we recorded. Welcome, boys and girls, to another installment of We the Boys. Joining me today is, as usual, my tag team partner, my consigliere. He is the number man. He is Alan, the nerd.
Rocking a fresh new haircut, sleek, by orders of We the Boys. Acknowledge us.
Right now, right in the middle of your screen. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, yes, we're on Spotify. Subscribe to us or follow us on Spotify. Right in the middle of your screen and rocking a new hat that says Daddy on the head. It is the Godfather in flesh. I am Don Anthony. And today, after a 3 weeks hiatus, I've been informed by my consigliere, well, work gets to us, lah. Scheduling and whatnot, and we're back recording a very special episode about a very special girl that we're seeing on our screen recently a lot more. She is Liv Morgan. I was trying to think of a catchy way of saying Liv Morgan, but I just can't say it. She is catchy herself. Liv Morgan. Yeah, Liv Morgan has been running riot. I hope you see the wordplay there from Riot Squad. She's been running riot on our screen, and especially Judgment Day. She's been doing quite well for herself. She's also our new women's champion. You know, I think she's a very good fit, and I think both of us sort of foresaw and sort of like spoke on it a little bit in our past episode that Becky Lynch was going to drop the title anyway. She was just an interim title holder. And it turned out quite well. But before we go into the whole nitty-gritty about Liv Morgan and the revenge tour, yada, 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 let's have a little bit of a recap with our resident consigliere about who Liv Morgan actually is.
Okay, Anthony, before I take it from here, I just have one question for you. What are those cap you're wearing?
Okay. Trying something new, Daddy.
Okay, let me take it from here. So, Liv Morgan, interestingly enough, she has been in the company with WWE, NXT since 2014, Anthony. That means this year is a 10-year anniversary. A decade in the company, you know, and finally, after grinding for 10 years, she's in the top of the mountain.
Interesting.
So, like every fresh recruit in after throughout the new decade, they all went through the training regime in NXT. So Liv Morgan has been groomed since the early stages of WWE developmental. It's quite interesting to note that she was never NXT champion throughout her time in NXT. And when she transitioned, as you mentioned, you know, she debuted in the main roster first with the gimmick of Riot Squad. Do you know who the other two members of the Riot Squad is, Anthony?
Yeah, Ruby Riott and what is that Viking girl's name again?
Sarah Logan.
Yeah, Sarah Logan, correct, yeah.
Yes, correct. So, I mean, Liv Morgan has been very infatuated with the factions and tag teams all this while. Finding her footing, you know, mixing up with tag teams, being involved. And throughout the early years in the main roster, she has not achieved a main event status. It was only recently when she won the Money in the Bank that she was given the opportunity. Okay, and that time she even made a record in which she cashed in the Money in the Bank in the same pay-per-view itself, when it was known as pay-per-view and not premium live event. But the first title reign was only lasted for 98 days. So at that moment, there were a lot of people hesitating, feeling that Liv Morgan is still not ready. You know, even though she was a world champion at that point. And after that, she mixed up in the tag team division with Rhea Ripley. And after that, the tag team broke out. And it leads to enrichment of character. in the sense that now Rhea Ripley has turned to be entered the Judgment Day and become a persona of Mami, and now Liv Morgan has a certain edginess to her new character with the Revenge Tour, and I feel that with this current title win, she's in it for the big time. We cannot deem her as a transitional champion. She is the face of the women's wrestling in Raw, as far as I'm concerned. Now, she means business, Anthony. She always have a stellar performance in Royal Rumbles, tournaments, Elimination Chamber, and this is her moment. No one can take it away from her.
Yeah, it does feel very, very different this time. I mean, she was a champion before this, and she had lost the title. But that one really felt like, she was being shoehorned. Something just didn't feel right about her first, her run as champion back then. But this time, it feels real. When she actually, she took advantage of the situation in King and Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia just, 3 days ago. When she took advantage of the situation whereby Dominic Mysterio had slung in a steel chair and she used it to advantage, it feels different. Like, it feels believable that she could beat a champion in Becky Lynch, albeit this time Becky Lynch's title run didn't feel like a title run anyway. She really did feel like a nameless avatar, a faceless avatar instead, So anyway, before all of that, I've got a question for you, my consigliere. Do you know what was Liv Morgan's first match in WWE?
That flew across my mind. I have to take a pass on it. Enlighten me.
Yeah, all right. It was against Eva Marie. Yeah, and back then her name was not Liv Morgan, it was Marley. So essentially, Liv Morgan, her first match was against Eva Marie, but as the character Liv Morgan, her first match was against Emma, and both matches she lost. Interesting tidbit.
Okay. Don, may I? Let me throw you
go
a
on.
fun fact. Her official debut, in-screen debut, do you know what is it?
Hell no. Go on.
She was the fangirl who invaded Tyler Breeze's entrance. At that moment, Tyler Breeze is trying to break reality, and they assume a fan, wants to have a moment with him, but actually it was planted from the early stages. So that was Liv Morgan's first on-screen appearance. So you see how far, she transitioned to the main eventer she is today. I still remember in the early days when you mentioned about Liv Morgan, the only thing I can thought of her is she wearing baggy outfits and having a lollipop and a blue color tongue. That's my earliest recollection of what Liv Morgan. But you see now, she's an icon statement in the sense that every PLE she'll have interesting outfit. Recently, for this King and Queen of the Ring, they were daunting outfit. Paying homage to Britney Spears. Both Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan. Yeah.
No, I reckon Becky Lynch was. You may be right, but I saw it as very Tommy Shelby-esque, with Becky Lynch's outfit. Also, just before we played this hot potato of facts on Liv Morgan, one more thing. Do you know what was the second televised appearance?
Flew across my mind once again.
It's actually Tyler Breeze's second entrance, actually. As a fan also, yeah.
Was she Liv Morgan at that moment?
No, she was her
Still
first.
Marley.
She was a no-name. She was just an extra. Only after that, Triple H had started to push her, and that's when she came in as Marley against Eva Marie. Eva Marie, man, and right now, Liv Morgan is the champion of WWE, and this time it feels different, as I was saying earlier, because it feels like people, all these wrestlers with characters very seriously, so they have a sense of legitimacy to their reign, and Liv Morgan is a bona fide, legitimate champion, current day champion. And as you said just now, I don't think she's going to be a transitional champion. I feel like she is the person who is going to be the name, and it's all up to her. It's all on her now to revamp her character, like what Rhea Ripley did, Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that your first memory of Liv Morgan is, with the lollipop and stuff. Um, my first memory of Liv Morgan is very similar to that of yours because that was her main roster sort of character. She always reminded me of Bubbles from Powerpuff Girls. She's sweet and cute, but very dangerous. Yeah, that's who I still see Liv Morgan. But at the same time, I don't know if it's just me, but Liv Morgan always sort of like reminded me of somebody. And only recently did I put my finger on it. She reminds me of Billie Eilish for some reason. Do you see that? Or is it just me?
I mean, if you want to say the fashion sense and the way how she portrays herself, but I would say that is on the early stages of Liv Morgan. Now she's a
Mm,
totally different. She has a psychotic edge to her character. That
yeah.
badass edge.
Mm. Also, Liv Morgan made headlines recently, not being champion. This was actually just a week before she was champion. She made headlines because single man, she's actually single. You know, I mean, not that it's going to change anybody's chances with her, yeah. But yeah, just so you know, newsflash: Liv Morgan is single. So all of you single fellows who wish to, have a pop at it, go at it. She's obviously not going to see you, but is what a shot, I suppose.
As her entrance team would say, "Watch me."
Yeah, watch her from
We
afar.
we
Be a
we are
stalker.
we are watching, champ. We are watching.
Also, fun fact, another thing, if you're a Malaysian, stalking is illegal. Stalking is against the law. You could be punished for that. So don't stalk people in real life. But if you want to stalk their Instagram, like Liv Morgan, I've already warned you. Anyway, going back to more important topics. Right now, the storyline between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. I think the both of us had predicted it in one of our videos prior that this was the direction she was in. She was heading towards stealing Dominic Mysterio from Rhea Ripley, stealing the Judgment Day from Rhea Ripley. I don't know so much of the Judgment Day being stolen by Liv Morgan, but this is what I feel. Right, watching back the King and Queen of the Ring match, right, where Dominic had slid in a steel chair. Although it feels like a mistake, there could be two ways that you could look at this. But this is the way I looked at it. I felt like it was planted. Dominic Mysterio is obviously going to turn on Rhea Ripley in the very near future. And I feel that he did that on purpose. He was initially always going to help Liv Morgan. He was never going to help Becky Lynch anyway, but he couldn't make it too obvious. But the other way you can look at it is he was actually trying to help Becky Lynch destroy Liv Morgan. And that's why and it turned bad. But I don't seem to be leading towards that way because, as we know, there have been some backstage scenes and backstage segments between Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan, where there's been some hints of a romance brewing there. It's obviously heading towards that way. What do you think about this, Alan?
Okay, Anthony, I think it's a very refreshing take in a sense that it's not your very stereotypical romantic feud. There's more dimension to it. Instead of what two girls are going after one guy. I see how WWE can play it out, and Liv Morgan is in the sense that she is trying to pursue Dominic Mysterio in the sense of trying to brainwash him, trying to take him away from Rhea Ripley and to destroy her very fabric and what is centered around her life, having the Dominic Mysterio as her close confidant. Of course, in screen, Dominic Mysterio is not the romantic partner of Rhea Ripley. And I think WWE has grown and been matured at this sense. If you are talking about 10 years ago, they will just have a typical type of feud, like how the time Rusev and Bobby Lashley is going against Lana, and that feels very one-dimensional. So there is depth and emotion in this storytelling that I see that there is a potential we can tap in, to bring the best out of everyone. So I feel it's a very interesting thing. We are awaiting for Rhea Ripley to return, and eventually SummerSlam is down the road, and there is only one way we can resolve this storyline, boy.
What do you?
The custody of Dominic Mysterio in a ladder match in SummerSlam round 2.
You
It has
seem
to be
to.
the way.
You've been on this from. I cannot remember which video, but you've been on this, the custody of Dominic Mysterio. But it seems to be likely that's what we are heading towards. Alan, could you remind me what brand is Nia Jax on? She's on Smackdown, isn't she?
Yes, Nia Jax is on SmackDown, so she will no longer be involved in anything, everything, the woman's title in Raw here in after.
Yeah. Just a reminder to everybody: Nia Jax had won the Queen of the Ring tournament, so she's obviously going to face Bailey if she's still champion by then at SummerSlam. So yeah, I just needed to have a refresher. So obviously, is there any storyline or rather updates in terms of Rhea Ripley's comeback?
So far, no, but Becky Lynch will get the first bite of the cherry with her rematch clause. I think that will take place on a normal episode of Monday Night Raw because leading towards SummerSlam, which I feel is a very comfortable time frame for Rhea Ripley to return, we still have two PLE in between. First being Clash at the Castle Scotland, and second being Money in the Bank. So I think there is still ample time for Mummy to make her return to cut some promo first, while her injury is still healing like Seth Rollins. So she doesn't necessarily need to compete in ring upon her return. So I feel a comfortable time frame for her to make her surprise entrance, return back is either Clash at the Castle or Money in the Bank. Correct.
Or maybe Survivor Series.
Correct.
That'll be
Survivor
nice.
Series might be a bit too far off. And because we see now, I would like to believe that Becky Lynch rivalry and her main event spot towards the women's title will be ending sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think she's going to go back into what she was initially planning to, some time off to spend time with her kid and Seth, who's also away, injured. Right. Okay. So who do you think is going to be the next one who's going to feud with Liv Morgan? Because obviously she doesn't have anyone in the horizon.
Correct. So the way I see there's only two probable paths. One is damage control. Damage control is in Raw, but however, if you use the usual, the school of thoughts, a heel should not face a heel. What in layman terms, a bad guy, a villain should not be going after a villain. Damage control is being presented, as a wolf pack that is going to run and control Monday Night Raw. So I think by virtue of Dakota Kai, Kairi Sane, and also Io Sky might not have a shot. So if you are going on the face side, other than Becky Lynch, I felt that Lyra Valkyria has a point to prove herself. She wants to step out. And by virtue of her being an Irish descendant, which is quite close to Scotland, she might be given the next opportunity for the next PLE, perhaps.
Yeah, you raise a very good point, because I read it somewhere that WWE is seeming to want to rush the making of Lyra and making her a little bit more legitimate. As you can see, it was a very credible loss to Nia Jax, albeit a loss, but it was credible, and it's true. I mean, before this, I didn't quite have an idea, but yeah, it makes sense. Being of Europe, they'd want someone to represent the Europeans in the next PLE being held there. So yeah, that makes sense. So do you think Lyra is going to be against Liv for a while then?
Perhaps, but also, I caught a quick slip of the tongue from you, which I might want to decipher. I'm not sure you meant to say Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega is also in Raw, Perhaps LWO can throw their own, pitch to go against the champion.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. I think WWE fumbled it with LWO. Wait, let me pull this up. Hold on, just give me a second. You see, the essence of LWO has changed so much from what it is. Right now, it's just a groupie of Rey Mysterio fans. That's essentially what it is. And Rey Mysterio has no idea what he's doing in terms of the storyline. This, in my humble opinion, is the actual LWO. Is it? Eddie's LWO. That's the real LWO, not this rubbish that you're seeing on TV right now. So with that said, Zelina Vega, if she's going to be going against Liv Morgan, I think it'll be great. But do I ever believe in my heart of hearts that if Zelina Vega is going against Liv Morgan, she's going to have a chance? No, absolutely not. I know she's going to lose, you know. So I don't know. The credibility of it is different. But if Lyra is going against Liv, I would feel like, you know, there could be something happening. Obviously, she's not going to drop the belt so soon, you know. Yeah, but
And a
it is
quick
what
one,
it is.
Anthony, we also have to take into some consideration once again the second PLE, the last one before SummerSlam is Money in the Bank. So we have to factor in if the Money in the Bank winner for the women's part is from Raw. So that might add some depth in which, you know, the same person might utilize it towards Liv Morgan, like how Liv Morgan used the briefcase on the same day. So there is a certain mystic in this storytelling. But I felt that they need to prioritize on the long-term storytelling of Liv Morgan causing the injury to Rhea Ripley and the fact that they were a tag team to begin with. You know,
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I agree. You know, yeah, I agree. And okay, anyway, just before we go, right? Liv Morgan is on everyone's lips. And right now, where do you see the storyline going?
I still feel the most comfortable and logical sense is to have Rhea Ripley making her eventual return, avenging and challenging this Liv Morgan for the title she has never lost, and Dominic Mysterio will be added to the mix. There might be a certain a series of matches. Maybe the first will end up with disqualification, second with interference, a third with the fast pin, and so on, and ending with a custody of the title and Dominic Mysterio in the ladder match. Done. That's my take. How about you, Anthony?
Something very similar to that, of course, because I think there's just not much else that they could do that makes sense. I believe Dominic Mysterio is already in cahoots with Liv Morgan, as it is. I do not think Dominic Mysterio is going to bring Liv Morgan into Judgment Day, although it will be a welcomed thing, being the champion and stuff. It'll be great. But I think Dominic Mysterio is going to go a little bit off and do his own thing for a bit with Liv Morgan. And I think when Rhea comes back, she's obviously going to be face. She's going to feel very betrayed and stuff, and she's going to be away from Judgment Day. I think this is how they break up the Judgment Day. Although Judgment Day has been nothing but great, but I think, all good things must come to an end. So yeah, that's what I think is happening. But Dominic Mysterio, by the way, has been absolutely amazing. He has improved so much. His off-screen acting and his on-screen performances is second to none. This guy should be champion soon, should be Intercontinental champion soon, something along those lines. But yeah, Liv Morgan is doing great. I'm very happy for her. It's amazing that it's been 10 years. It feels like she's still a very new person to the roster.
Once again, the two words of her entrance theme: watch me, watch Liv Morgan real close. This will be her run,
All right, with that said, there's nothing much else to add. Perhaps we can do a little bit of a return when we see what's going to go on with Liv Morgan. A part 2 episode for this one, because I feel like there's more needed to this Liv Morgan. And she doesn't have a name to her right now, right? Like the final boss or something. It's just Liv Morgan, right?
She has just the word, revenge to sticking with her name. I think she needs a nickname sooner or later.
Perhaps it's going to come up, tomorrow's episode of Raw.
Organically, without it being forced,
Yeah, but the final boss was forced.
Yeah. And once Seth Rollins was trying to force diarrhea Dwayne. I think if it happens, it needs to be in a smooth manner.
Yeah, to be honest, that the whole anyway, that's another topic for another day. I was gonna say some rubbish that I would regret. Anyway, Liv Morgan doing well. Single guys, you can go after her. Non-single guys, you can watch her, and everyone else also can watch her. She's our champion. She's gonna be a champion for a while. Liv Morgan, we wish you nothing but the best. Go kick some ass. I've been Don Anthony, and that's been Alan, the nerd, my consigliere, and we have been the boys. We the boys.
Watch
Alan,
her,
anything to say?
watch her, and by orders of her, and by orders of we the boys, acknowledge us.
Acknowledge us. We're back.
LM.
Oh, I forgot how to stop this.